It's another edition, hello friends, of the Bark Tank on the Road. We're presented by Sugardale, and we are here for day 2 of the Reese's Senior Bowl, Mobile, Alabama. The entire football world is here, and I do mean really the entire football world. Coaches, GMs, head coaches, position coaches, college coaches, everybody is here. Kevin Stefanski is here, Andrew Berry is here, Glenn Cook, who, by the way, is going to join us a little bit later on this episode, the Browns' assistant general manager and VP of player personnel. He is here, the entire staff. And when it comes to college coaches, Marcus Freeman is here from Notre Dame. Have his quarterback, Riley Leonard, have R.J. Oben as well, defensive end, amongst some of the Golden Dome talent here. Brett Bielema, the Illinois head coach, is here. His wide receiver, Pat Bryant, fantastic this year in the Big Ten, had a great catch down the sideline earlier here today. Anyway, you get my point. And as we said yesterday, day 2 is really about improving, building upon what we saw from all these players. A lot of install on day 1, a lot of verbiage, a lot of stuff, as Bubba had said on the pod yesterday, like simple stuff like helmet communication between coach and quarterback, stuff like that. Even though that was brought into the college game last year, it's still an adjustment, new voices in your helmet. So what did we see? Right now, we got behind us Bubba Ventrone's team, the American team coaching. They're not yet wrapped up. The national team was out there earlier today. Had 2 really impressive defensive ends in the one-on-one drills. First off, Donovan Ezaraku from BC. We had mentioned him a couple of days ago, players we want to look at. He had 39 and a half, nearly 40 TFLs and sacks combined this past year. He's kind of lean, but man, he's got speed, he's got power. He impressed in those one-on-one drills, as did Mike Green, which is, again, a name we gave you yesterday. It is far too early to project where a guy goes. To me, he looks like a first-round pick, a guy that might have had good NIL money if he wanted to leave Marshall. He started his career at Virginia, probably could have gone somewhere else and chased the college bag, if you will. He put his name in the draft. He had a move, a power move off the ball on Josh Connerly, the big Oregon offensive tackle. He just knocked him on his rear, and the crowd went nuts, and his teammates went nuts. That's the good stuff. That is why you are here. And it's not just Bryant from Illinois. It's Smith, the speedster wearing 11 from Georgia. He just made a great catch here, back of the end zone. It's the one-on-one drills that you want. Those guys have certainly impressed. I told you yesterday, Harold Fannin from Bowling Green, and the other tight end as well, Mason Taylor from LSU. Both of them have looked good. I'm going to be partial as well, and I am wearing a Syracuse hat because it is kind of hot and steamy out here. I got sunburned yesterday, as you can see. For LaQuint Allen, the running back out of Syracuse, who put up great numbers this year with former Buckeye quarterback Kyle McCord. He made a nice catch in the end zone on a go route. That guy can play a little bit. And this is a very deep running back class. Etienne from Georgia, he's looked good here as well. And really, Jackson Dart has looked good. As much as Dylan Gabriel got the hype yesterday, and he deserves it, the stature, probably not NFL stature. Let's just say it at 5'10 and a half, it isn't NFL stature, but he had a nice ball, a nice crosser right over the outstretched hand of a linebacker to his teammate from Oregon, Tez Johnson, who started his career right down the road from here at Troy. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. He whipped it, and that guy's got some arm. What does he do in the NFL? I don't know. Plays a little bit like Tua. You want a small left-handed quarterback to back up the guy in Miami? You want to keep the system looking the same? I don't know. Dylan Gabriel may be your guy. He's not a top of the draft guy, but he's looked impressive. And again, Jackson Dart, ball comes out quickly. He's got good release. I really like him as well from Ole Miss. It is very, very early, however. And as much as you see day 2, what really is important here is day 3. I know the game is important for the Reese's Senior Bowl. It's Saturday. It's on national television. But day 3 of practice, where you put 2 days of good work behind you and really give your best effort, because then all the scouts and the GMs go home. Then all the head coaches go home. They are out of here on Thursday afternoon. They saw what they saw. They did their interviews. They leave the rest of the scouting staff to maybe finish things up on Thursday. And then on Friday, Mobile's a ghost town. It turns into parades and Mardi Gras, although Mardi Gras is not here. Easter's a little later this year. And then everyone goes home. They compare their notes, and they sit on the couch and they watch on Saturday. This right here is the most important work, hands down. And then you have draft meetings, and then you have the combine at the end of February, and then truly it gets serious. This is a lot of confirmation. Really, It's what it is. It's you saw guys in person, maybe you scouted on Saturdays during the season, you certainly have watched all the tape, you certainly prepped all your notes, you're ready here, and then this is the confirmation. There might be some guys you love, but you meet and you're like, nah, we're good. There might be some guys you're like, I'm not sure about the tape, but then you see him competing against SEC guys or ACC guys or Big Ten guys. You're like, you know what? Check. Because that guy now has proven that he could do it, and he's proven that he could learn, he's proven that he can get better throughout the week. So, one more day here of practice. We spoke to Andrew Berry yesterday, standing right here, actually. Time for the assistant GM to join the Bark Tank. All right, so this is cool. We had Andrew Berry, we had Bubba Ventrone. We now have the Browns assistant GM, the VP of Player Personnel, Glenn Cook. How's Mobile?
As you can see, it's sunny. I wish our fans in Cleveland could be down here enjoying this a little bit, given how cold it might be up there. So it's good to be here.
They had 8 inches of snow here last week.
Yeah, I know, but we got the good side of the weatherman. It's 60-degree weather today, so it's been good.
It's a Chamber of Commerce day, as Jim Nagy, the director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, likes to say, who's down here on the field. You were sitting with the Browns Brain Trust Scouting Trust, kind of right near the 50-yard line with a great view. How do you watch a Senior Bowl practice? Because you've seen most of these guys on tape. You've seen a lot of them in person as well during the season.
Yeah. It gives us another opportunity, another exposure to some of the top, for this group, senior, football players in college this year. And so we get a chance to see how they compete, man. It's all about, we want to add dudes and infuse the team with toughness, competitiveness, guys who love ball. So, look, they did it for 3-4 years in college. So, you take this with, take it in its own lens, but it is good to see them come down against some of the other top college football players and put in work for a couple of days. So it's been fun. It's been fun to see them get after it. Some guys are making plays. You hear the oohs and the ahs. So that's been good.
I think the point that Browns fans need to get through their head is the number 2 overall pick may not be here, but you got a dozen picks, right? The 33rd pick could be there. There's so much talent on this field. 110 players were taken out of the Senior Bowl last year, and whether it's Jerome Ford or whether it's DeJuan Jones, whether it's Jamari Thrash or Mike Hall, you build your roster at a game like this. With any of those guys in the past, was there a moment at the Senior Bowl where you're like, all right, this verifies what we scouted during the year? Check.
I think one of the things you do want to see is guys make plays. I think if you were to ask me what's a consistent thing across some of the guys who perform well at the Senior Bowl and guys who go into the NFL and do well, they show up here and they make plays, and like I said, you're going up against some of the best. And so if you can do it on this platform, that's a good sign and maybe a signal that you're going to be pretty solid in the NFL. So really, I think we, specifically maybe using DeJuan as an example, although he practiced one day, the talent stood out and his ability to pass block, the one-on-one, the competitiveness, like that stood out. So we're just looking for that. We're trying to take as many nuggets, morsels from these few days, not only on the field, honestly, but getting a chance to hear these guys share their stories, talk a little bit about their family and their upbringing and kind of what got them to this moment and piece it all together to, again, add not only really talented players, but guys who fit the culture.
I think DeJuan's a perfect example. On Tuesday, 2 years ago, he stood right there and he blocked out the sun. He destroyed everybody on those one-on-one drills. And then he was like, yeah, I'm good. And just kind of watched. But he made his improvement, or he made his mark, rather. I think it's also fascinating, like a guy like Mike Green from Marshall today knocked a tackle on his rear.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about how that offensive lineman then backs it up on or comes back on the next rep. It comes back on the next rep, right?
100%. Speaking of the one-on-ones today, like those dudes were getting after it.
Yeah.
And look, we don't look at it so microscopically where it's like, oh, you lost the one rep, you can't play. But it is that, right? Like, did he get up? Did he take the coaching? Did he understand where he went wrong? And then that next rep, what did he do? Like Conley got up in that instance on the next time and did a good job. So it's really just it's about getting the full evaluation. This is the next phase, right? Like we had the whole season. Our scouts did a great job to kind of set us up for this situation that we're in right now.
And the guy we're talking about, Josh Connerly, the Oregon tackle, he's a dude, right? He's a dude in the conversation on day 1 or day 2, and Mike Green is as well from Marshall. Let's talk about, if we could, the quarterbacks from 35,000 feet. Jim Nagy made some waves, the head of the Senior Bowl on Monday, when he said, none of these guys, not just the guys in this game, but none of these guys in this class would maybe be in the top 6 last year. The quarterbacks you're seeing here today, whether it's Jalen Milroe or Dylan Gabriel, who was whipping the ball yesterday, or Jackson Dart, what do you think of this group here in Mobile?
Like I said, these guys have played 3 or 4 years in college, have led their teams to a lot of success. Like, there's something to be said about that. So this is another step in trying to understand both who they are on the field, the level of talent they may or may not have, and then just also getting to dig into who the person is, right? So you just want to piece it all together. Again, you don't want to take too much from just one piece of information. So it's been good to just get the exposure, right? We got to go back. We got to do the work. We got to make sure we really dive in. And we got 2 months to figure out and understand what 11 guys, at least at this moment, that's what we got, 11 picks, what 11 guys are going to make our team what we want to do.
You were in Dallas at the East-West Shrine Bowl. What do you think of that quarterback?
It was good, man. So the name's there. It was good. There's a lot of excitement around, one individual, but it was good to see, all those guys compete and make plays on there. I think, a lot can be made of just the Senior Bowl, but the East-West, there's always talent to be found across the board. For us, again, it's just focusing on, what's important to us, making sure we identify and target the right people and the right guys and enjoy. So I thought it was good. We went down for 3 days and then came right over on Monday so we can get a chance to sit down with the guys on Monday night. So it was good.
I am wearing a Syracuse hat because the sun is beating down. I got sunburned yesterday, so big fan of the Syracuse running back with Clint Allen. Made a nice catch down there on the sideline. He did near the end of practice. So I'm just going to assume you're a big Cam Ward fan. Well, just do that. You're a Miami guy. Did you enjoy watching Cam Ward and your Canes this year?
I did.
Okay.
It was fun. The kid's a super competitor. He showed up in big moments for us. He led our team to a lot of wins. So just speaking as an alum, I love it, and I love it. And we want to continue that type of success at the school. So for him to go there, do what he did in 1 year, that was great to see, that was really awesome to see it. I want him to continue to have success. He's a part of the family now.
I will say this as well, just tying it into the whole concept of competition here. He could have gone to the draft last year. He chose, after hearing what his NFL draft grade might be, to go to Miami, lifted up that program as well, and certainly did himself a solid, made himself some money. So you have to like an ascending player, right, that said, I'm going to bet on myself.
You see that across the season. Sometimes guys realize, hey, I didn't put what I wanted to put on film, and they define that as whatever they want it to be. And so, it's pretty easy or easier sometimes to say, oh, I'm just going to go to the league. I can develop better in the NFL. But when a guy says, hey, I'm going to take a chance on myself, I feel like I'm better. I feel like I can do better. And they stay in college, which is an individual choice, and perform. I'm happy for them in any of those instances. So whether that's him or some of the other guys who did the same thing at other schools across the country, it's cool. It's cool.
If I could drop something in the suggestion box now as we wrap this up, because I'm wearing the Syracuse hat, Kyle McCord's nice, just saying, He spun the ball this year. Glenn, appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it.
Really mobile, and it's going to be a fun couple of months.
Sure will.
Okay, Glenn Cook, everybody. So Glenn Cook, Andrew Berry, Bubba Ventrone, check. And they're all going to stay down here. I want to thank them for doing this because they're actually working. It's not just, like me hanging out on the sideline trying to talk to people and get information about the NFL and about this draft class. I want to throw in one more quarterback name. His name is Tyler Shock. He's quarterback at Louisville. And I know Dylan Gabriel made all the Twitter or X trends on Tuesday with the way he was throwing the football. Tyler Shock actually has, in my opinion, the strongest arm here. He's got a cannon. Go and look at some of his Louisville tape. He's an older quarterback, had some injuries, well-traveled, began at Oregon, and actually got 2 degrees, graduated in 3 or 4 years, got out of there, and then went to Louisville. He's going to be 26 in September. You generally don't tell me Brandon Whedon here, but you generally don't draft a quarterback that old. I'm not saying he's a day one quarterback. He is not. But he's got a hose, and that arm is showing up here. Tyler Shock is going to get drafted, and look, he's going to be a guy that gets into a camp. He's going to be a guy that makes some plays in the preseason, and he's going to be a guy that some teams go, okay, we have some difficult roster math now to figure out. Also want to throw in one more tight end. I mentioned Fannin and Taylor earlier. Keep an eye on another guy who's been injured a lot, but out of Miami. They have a long history of tight ends. His name is Elijah Arroyo. Missed 10 games combined the last couple of years with some leg injuries. He's back. He looks good. Very deep tight end class. Colston Loveland at Michigan, for example. Everyone projecting him to be a 1. And Bowling Green's, again, Harold Fannin. He is certainly in the conversation as well for the top couple of tight ends in this draft. But remember the name, Elijah Arroyo. He certainly looks good here as well. That's wrapping up this edition here of the Bark Tank presented by Sugardale. Everybody, we have football plays being made behind us. This is how the sausage is made, truly. This is how the draft is made. Thanks to all the great crew here behind the scenes, getting everything done. That's not only Kelsey writing, that's Jeff, that's Connor, that's, who am I forgetting as well, Jeff? Matt Starkey, of course. Jeff's right there behind. Yeah. Look, this is it. I mean, this is unedited goodness here. You want a pod? This is the pod, right? All right. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes and Rick back there in Berea as well. So long from Mobile.